In this video tutorial, we're going to begin to add some basic elements, design elements, to our web page. And there are a number of ways that we can do this, and I'm going to show you a couple of different ways of doing it throughout the course. The first way is to use tables as design elements, and the second is to use div tags as design elements, or blocks, if you like, for containing graphics and text elements in our page. To begin with, if you have the insert panel closed, go ahead and open that up. Notice that I had collapsed these other panels, the Files panel and the CSS Styles panel that I had open in the previous tutorial, to give me more room to work. So if you want to open up the insert panel, simply double click on it to open it, and then double click on your CSS styles to close it, and double click on the files panel to close it, and you can see all of the different elements that you can add into your page in Dreamweaver. So to begin with, we're going to click inside our page at the very top of the page. Make sure the cursor is blinking inside the design view in Dreamweaver, and then go ahead and click on Table in the Insert panel, and the Table Dimensions window opens up for you. And the first table we're going to create is simply going to be a one row, one column table. So type in 1 here and 1 over here, and then the width, we're going to set the width to 750 pixels. Now you'll notice that you have the option of setting your page or table width to %. If you decided that you wanted to have a web page that would stretch to 100% of the browser window, this is where you would do that. This type of layout would be called elastic layout, elastic width. Instead of that, we're going to go with fixed width, which is actually defining the number of pixels. And 750 to 800 pixels is about the average size web page for fixed width. But certainly that doesn't mean you have to always use this width. This is just for demonstration here, and you can experiment with different pixel widths or even with elastic percentages as well to see how they work in terms of layout. Border thickness, I'm going to leave this set to 0 pixels, and cell padding and spacing I've set to 3 pixels each. And so padding means if I have 3 pixels here, this is going to give me 3 pixels of padding inside of each cell that I create, so that the text does not cram up against the wall of the cell. And spacing is simply the space between different cells that I'm creating, or different tables that I'm creating. Pixels, as you'll see in our glossary, once you read through the course glossary, pixels simply stands for, is a contraction of picture elements, and it defines how different color elements are added to a page. Okay, so cell padding, cell spacing, and then click OK. And so here is our first table that we've created at the very top of our page. And we're going to use this to create a banner for our web page. And because we may want to style it, in fact we will want to style it specifically down the road, we want to give this table a specific name so that we can identify it and apply rules to it. And more about this later on in the course. We'll make this a little bit clearer. But to give our table a name, simply make sure it's selected, and you can click on the edge of it to select it, or click inside it to select it, and then locate where it says table in the tagline at the bottom of the Dreamweaver page. So if I click on table, that also selects it. And once it's selected, you're going to go down into the property inspector, and the very left field in the property inspector is where we give the element a name, and we're going to call this banner. So we're going to call our table the banner table. Notice all lowercase banner. Here are the properties for our banner table, and everything looks good, except the only thing I want to change is I want to go to the Align pop-up menu here in the inspector, and I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to center the table. So now that table is in the center of the page, and you can move the divider for your design view and code view to just see, preview how that table is now centering itself in our web page. So 750 pixel table called banner at the top. And then the next thing I'm going to do is click underneath it, and I'm going to add another table underneath the banner table. So I go back to my insert menu, click table. Once again, I'm going to make it one row, but I'm going to make this 2 columns instead. 750 pixels again, 0 border thickness, 3 pixels padding, 3 pixels spacing, and click OK. And I'm going to go back down to, while it's still selected, just leave it selected. I'm going to go back down to the property inspector, click inside the properties table field, and I'm going to call this content. So I'm going to call this table content. And I'm going to leave everything the same, except once again, align, the align pop-up menu, I'm going to choose center, and you should see the table move over to the center of your page. Now I'm going to go to the divider between the 2 cells in the content table, and I'm going to hover over that, and notice that you have the ability to change the width here by simply going to the divider line, click and drag to whatever width you want for the individual part. So if I want the left cell to be 200 pixels, you could see that number changing up there, and I could drag it to 200 pixels. And so now I have a slightly different width for each one of the tables in the content table. And then I'm going to go ahead and add one more table down the bottom of the page. Again, click under the other 2 tables. Once again, go to Insert, Table, and lastly, I'm going to add one more 1 row, 1 column table, 750 pixels, 0 thickness, 3 pixels padding, 3 pixels spacing, and click OK. And with this table selected, I'm going to go down to the table properties field in the property inspector, and I'm going to call this footer. And leave everything else the same, but yes, you guessed it, where it says align, pop up, choose center. And so now I have my 3 tables for my web page ready to start adding content in there. And so now would be a good time to go ahead and save your file, and you should be saving as you go along frequently. So go File, Save. So we've saved our index file, and we've created our 3 tables, and we are ready to go ahead and start adding content into our 3 tables.